Hi, my name is Magnar. I am an airline captain and instructor. Today I will react to a video called Top 10 Most Dangerous Airports in the World. This is a very popular video. It has more than 34 million views. As you can see on the thumbnail, it's quite interesting. It shows an Airbus 350 undergoing certification tests on a runway, contaminated with standing water. The lower half of the picture is a lake or an ocean. So it's a nice clickbait, isn't it? The word dangerous can also be a clickbait. But you don't make dangerous airports. You don't do that. You can have challenging airports, difficult airports. You can also call them spectacular, but dangerous? No, it doesn't work that way. But let's have a look at the video. A Boeing commercial.
Many pilots believe that the most dangerous stages during the flight are takeoffs and landings.
Well, most accidents happen at takeoff and landing, that's true.
But there are airports in the world where takeoffs and landings are scary even for highly professional pilots. They have to show real miracles of maneuverability.
Stop. Scary? Miracles? Come on. It doesn't work that way. Before an airline decides to fly into a new airport, they assess the risk factors, including the runway, the terrain, obstacles, the services, the facilities at the airport, and the prevailing weather. And then they decide, do we need to put any restrictions on the operations, for example, regarding the weather? And they also decide whether they need extra training of the pilots. And I expect that on this video, you will need special training to fly into these airports. They might be quite special. And therefore, they do simulator training and training with experienced captains before they are allowed to fly on their own. I've been flying in Thailand a lot, and here we have an airport named Ma Hong Son. It's located across a valley, and one end of the runway points straight into a mountainside. So that means you have to land one way in and you depart the other way out. Is this dangerous? No, it's not, as long as you got proper training. And we pilots, we receive training in simulator 2 times a year. And we don't fly normal operations there. We practice engine out. So when we take off, one engine will fail, and we fly single engine, we climb out, follow procedure, return back to land. We have to make a missed approach, climb back up, new approach, and land. Everything with one engine out. This is what we practice. In real life, it's more easy because engine don't fail that often. So how will Ma Hong Son compare to the airports here? I wonder. Maybe we can put Ma Hong Son into this list. But let's watch the video first.
Number 10. Gibraltar International Airport.
Big airport.
It may seem that the airport is quite normal, but if you take a closer look, you'll understand that's not. Undoubtedly, the most exceptional fact is that the main runway passes through the main street of the city. Every time when a plane should land, the cars must stop. Landings are also complicated due to the fact that the island often has windy weather.
Okay, so they say this airport is dangerous because it's a road crossing the runway. You also notice there are barriers stopping the traffic when the runway is occupied by aircraft. And people traveling to and from Gibraltar, they are used to this. And in addition, there will be police checking that nobody tried to cross the runway when it's closed for traffic. This doesn't make Gibraltar dangerous. They mentioned the wind. Yes, that will create turbulence because you saw the steep mountain here called the Rock. And this makes Gibraltar very famous. And this can create turbulence when the wind is blowing around or over the mountain. And pilots know that. They are fully aware of it and they are prepared for it. And there are limitations how strong the wind can be from certain areas. And if the wind is too strong, you don't land, you don't take off. It's that simple. Okay, so I think this airport should never been on the list. But let's check the next.
Number 9. Princess Juliana International Airport on St. Martin's Island. The end of its runway is located too close to the Maho beach. The shock wave from the plane engines has such a power that it literally knocks down the curious extremists watching the takeoffs. While landing, planes fly low over the beach, almost touching a tourist's heads.
St. Maarten is famous for the beach. Does that make this airport dangerous? Yes, if you don't follow the instructions given on the big signs who tells you not to stay on the beach when aircraft are taking off and landing. So why do people do this? They want the sensation, they want to feel the force of the aircraft. But people has been killed by doing this. So it's dangerous for stupid tourists who don't follow instructions. It's like trying to cross a motorway by foot. You see the problem here? The airport itself is not dangerous. The danger here are stupid tourists. This airport should not be on this list. Next.
Number 8. Nasraswak International Airport in Greenland. A lot of fjords are located very close to this airport, and this is not all dangers. In this area is increased turbulence, usually even when there is no strong and gusty wind. Only well-trained and experienced professionals are allowed to fly in this region with such extreme climatic conditions.
We call those professionals pilots. Look, why does a fjord make it difficult or dangerous to land at an airport? I don't know. Maybe because it may form fog in the summertime when the water is cold and the ground is warm. That's one possibility. But otherwise, water is nice for approach because there are no obstacles there. So you can fly the approach to the runway. Yes, you can get turbulence. You saw the mountains around the airport, but there are hundreds of similar airports in the Arctic alone. I'm from Norway. I've flown on such airports. You have to respect the weather. It can be snowing, it can be windy, it can be turbulent. You know the limitations. And if the weather exceeds the limitations, you don't fly. It's that easy. And when it comes to Nasraswak, this airport was built in the Second World War. And since 1942, more than 10,000 aircraft used this airport for refueling stop. There have been plenty of commercial operations here, starting with DC-4 in the 1940s, DC-6, Boeing 707, and until recently, Boeing 757 have been operating here without any problems. You just have to respect the weather. Okay.
Number 7. In 2010, the History Channel called this airport the most dangerous in the world. Lukla Airport in Nepal. It's located in the Himalayas at an altitude of 9,500 feet, and its runway is framed by a high mountain from one side, and a very deep abyss from the other. This airport earned the title of the most extreme airport in the world, for one more reason: takeoffs and landings are carried out only by VFR, because only the radio station can be used here.
I'm not sure what the narrator means with this. Of course you had to talk on the radio because you need to communicate and coordinate traffic coming in and out of Lukla. This is in fact a very busy airport, because this is the gateway to Mount Everest. And that's why this airport is so famous, because so many people travel there. It's also demanding because when you're in short final, you cannot go around, you're committed to land. And I don't understand why this airport is ranked as number 7, because this is absolutely one of the most demanding commercial airports in the entire world. What can be worse than that? Let's find out.
Number 6. Magnar Airport in the Kingdom of Lesotho. This is not an airport in usual sense.
Oh?
On a mountain plateau, stretched 1,300 feet long runway, and it ends with a precipice of 1,900 feet.
What did she say? 1,300 feet long runway? This runway is much longer than that. Absolutely. You can even see a localized antenna at the end of the runway. So this airport is in fact well equipped. And when I say 1,300 feet, I start to wonder, what airport can this be? It cannot be Meking. I searched for Meking Airport in Lesotho. I couldn't find it. But I found a runway with 1,300 feet long runway. And this airport is Matekana, and it's famous because the runway ends with a drop into the abyss. So I think we have to search another place to find this airport on the video. And the result is, it's not even in Lesotho. It's not even in Africa. You have to go to another continent, to South America, because this airport is Antonio Nariño Airport, serving Pasto in Colombia. Despite this blunder, flying in and out of airports on top of mountains like this is very challenging, mainly because of turbulence. And this runway is reportedly unsafe in crosswinds, and I understand that very well, because you see on the left there's a big drop, and the wind flowing from that direction will create a lot of turbulence. And this results in many cancellations. You just don't fly there when you have the wrong wind. It's that simple. Okay, we look at the next one.
Number 5. Courchevel Mountain Airport in France. The airport has an extremely short runway and its tilt angle is 18.5 degrees. The functionality of the airport is also limited by technical conditions due to the lack of a landing approach for navigation systems. This leads to the fact that landing during fogs or low settling clouds is absolutely impossible.
Yes, I agree. You cannot make an instrument procedure into an airport in a mountainside. That will be impossible to do. And if you make an instrument procedure, minimum will be so high, so you can go VFR anyway. This airport is located in the French Alps, and they call them for altiports, and Courchevel is the most famous of those. This airport has been served by a big aircraft like the Dash 7, which is a short-field aircraft. But the regularity is very low because this is a good weather airport only. When the weather is bad, you don't fly. Okay, next video.
Number 4. Toncontin International Airport in Honduras. The airfield was built in a valley, around which the mountains rise. The runways are equipped at high altitude. Because of these factors, the planes must fly over mountains at an angle of 45 degrees.
An angle of 45 degrees. I'm not sure what they mean, because you don't make a bank angle with 45 degrees, you don't descend with 45 degrees. And making a heading change of 45 degrees, that's normal. You do a lot of heading changes before you land. So I'm not sure what they mean here. By the way, what you see here is an American Airlines Boeing 757 coming to land.
Also, the wind creates additional complexity, forcing to make amendments literally in the last moments.
Nice landing, absolute. What makes Toncontin special is that you have to fly a very special pattern over high terrain and then descend steeply down to the airport. Does that make this airport dangerous? I don't want to use the word dangerous, but it's a demanding airport. And very few pilots are allowed to fly into this airport. For example, American Airlines, they have just a small group of pilots qualified to fly into this airport. And that makes this operation safe. Next.
Number 3. Gustav III, Airport of the St. Barthélemy Island in the Caribbean Sea. The runway is very short, moreover, it's located in an incredibly narrow place, bounded on the sides by rocks. During the landing, the aircrafts are extremely close up to the slopes. And there is a threat of falling into the ocean.
Oh, you should go around now. That's not good. Even you're blocking the ways, you cannot stop. Oosh. Oi, oi, oi. Yes, this airport requires precision. You have to be very disciplined when you fly into this airport because it looks like a ski jump. You have to fly down the hill, it's very steep, and the runway is very short, less than 600 meters. So you have to do everything perfect. That starts. You have to be on approach speed before you start the steep descent. And you have to maintain the speed. And because of headwind coming up, you will get extra lift. So you have to be very careful to maintain your speed. You probably will be close to idle. And if your speed starts to increase, you have no option but to go around. And you also have to decide, I have to touch down before this point on the runway. And if you don't touch down before that point, you have to go around, and you have to have that in your mind. Many pilots, they do the mistake, they think I have to land. No, a landing is an option. A go around is always there. And if you're not stabilized 100%, you go around. It's so much more safe. Okay.
Number 2. Montisuk Airport in Greenland.
Again.
It can only serve STOL airplanes, also there is no anti-icing equipment at the airport. Because of Greenland winters and increased turbulence, the landing in this airport is a problem.
It's very, very beautiful. Wow, I stop it. This airport is beautiful in good weather. And it reminds me of Norway. This runway is 800 meters long, and in Norway there's almost a dozen similar airports around the Arctic coast. And they are incredibly beautiful, it's very scenic. But the weather can change quickly, and you have to respect the weather because you need visibility, you need wind within limits, otherwise it can be too much turbulence. And the pilots are especially aware of this when they fly into such airports. So, to keep the operation safe, you only land when the weather is inside your limitations. If it's outside that limitation, you don't land. And as they said, there is no de-icing. Okay, so if it's snowing and you're standing and ready for takeoff, you cannot take off because you have to take off with clean wings. It's simple as that, and it may lead to cancellations, yes, delays, yes. But that's how life is. We have to respect the weather, and it can be very tough in Arctic. But wow, it's beautiful. I would like to go there, just for that experience. Beautiful landing.
Number 1. Paro Airport in the Kingdom of Bhutan.
This is not
Airport is
Paro.
located in a small valley of the Paro River, surrounded by Himalayas mountain peaks. Because of its location, this airport is recognized as the most extreme in the world for landings. According to the various sources, only a few pilots from around the world have a license and permission for such extreme landings. The aircraft crew must make incredible turns among the mountains to make a landing. Takeoffs is no less terrible and dangerous. The plane should fly in a spiral right above the airport, gradually gaining altitude to fly over the Himalayas. Such tricks are possible only during the day, and only with good weather conditions.
Stop. What are you saying, ma'am? Are takeoffs terrible and dangerous? No, they are not. As you said, there are very few pilots licensed and allowed to take off and land at this airport. They are specially trained. They know what they are doing. They don't do any special tricks. They fly the aircraft very precisely, and they prepare for the worst scenario every time. And that is an engine flameout at takeoff at the worst critical moment as you lift off. And they prepare this in a way that if this happens, they get a flameout, they can continue climb safely through the valley, reach a point where they can make a U-turn back, and they return and land. Every takeoff is prepared this way and planned for. So when both engines work, you have a bonus. You have a lot more performance. It's all about training, preparations, and discipline. And I like this airport because of the location. The elevation is 7,000 feet and a little more. The mountains reach about 15,000 feet. That makes it demanding. But I'm a simulator instructor, and if we have time, maybe we finish the session 10 or 15 minutes early. I move the simulator to Paro, and I tell them to take off, make a U-turn and land. And they enjoy it a lot. Here's a video about it, where we are on the approach. And you can see the airport down there, and you have to descend through this valley and make a left and then a right turn into final. So, are those pilots in the simulator crème de la crème because they managed to land there? No. They are normal pilots. No big deal. As long as you follow procedures, it's safe. So, how would Mahang Son fare against these airports? we can take away the missing airport in Lesotho. Then we have 10 airports. I will say Ma Hong Son is number 7. I will rank Lukla as number 1, and I will put Paro very high up, as well as Toncontin in Honduras. They are the 3 most difficult airports shown here. But Gibraltar, for example, no, that is a very normal airport. So some of these airports should never be on the list, because there's so many other airports that are more challenging. Okay, so I will give this video a verdict. And I start with the quality of the video. In its fact, very good quality. And you have a very nice background music, maybe a bit boring. You have the nice voice. And this voice is not real. This is a voice-to-text application you can buy. It costs maybe $100 a year or something. And I'm surprised that the quality is so good. That means it's improving. The clips showing airplanes not relevant to the airports, no, I don't like that. That's a minus. And I also find the ranking very random, because Lukla number 7, that is not right. It's one of the most demanding airports in the world. The thumbnail is a clickbait as usual, and also the use of word dangerous that automatically put you up in the queue. And some information is sensational, like the saying the takeoff at Paro is scary and dangerous. No. Maybe some passengers feel it, but for the pilots, it's their job. They will not take off if it's dangerous, because they have family, they have friends. They want to go home in the evening. So based on this, I can clearly see that the creator of this video has not the best understanding of aviation. And I will give this a 2 out of 10. That's my verdict. Okay, that's all for this time. I hope you enjoyed this video, and please support me. You can click like, subscribe, share with your friends. You can also follow me on Facebook, give a donation on PayPal. Even a couple of dollars make a difference here. Thank you for watching. Have a wonderful day and happy landing.
100, 50, 40, 30, 20, 10.